Internet Sergeant, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today we're about to end the month and the year, but before we end both, we must, as always, do our Q&A. Riddler goes up. This time it was a Christmas-themed one, and we answer your questions in the order they came in. We've got everything from what's DOGE going to do, the bonuses that got away, will Smartly get nerfed, and what credit card would Santa use? So let's keep it themed, shall we? So we go long here, so chapters 2 down below, jump around as you see fit, but of course, let's go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. So, batting leadoff is Red Sox Nation. Merry Christmas with Christ capitalized. Merry Christmas to you as well, sir. How effective do you think incoming Department of Government Efficiency DOGE will be, or will government bloat continue? So this is Elon and Vivek's thing to go through and make the government more efficient. I don't think it'll do much of anything, man. It's not that hard to figure out where stuff is bloated and inefficient, but I am a process person. Like, I have done the whole Six Sigma black belt thing and all that, and I don't think they're coming in to say, well, how do we actually make it more efficient? I think they're just coming in trying to axe things and get rid of stuff. And people are all, we all have that, self-survival thing of like, yeah, but it can be as inefficient as possible. If it's your job, then you're going to try to fight to keep it. Or if it benefits you up the ladder, like, you're going to try to fight to keep it. I think they're just looking for a fight more than anything else. Now, if they were coming in and saying like, man, this department is run very poorly. Well, what kind of automations do we have? What kind of tools? What can we do to do that kind of thing? Then yeah, it has potential, because again, it's the government. The other question is, where's the money coming from to, fix this stuff? Like, what's their budget? What's their target for how much they're trying to save? Is it totally head count? Is it just, overall burn rate, or what? They could very well have that plan. Admittedly, I have not paid much attention to it, aside from the fun quotes that come out of it, but from that, it just seems like they just want to come in and start cutting stuff, and that's going to turn into a fight. I don't see them sitting down and be like, well, they want to cut the CFPB. Well, like, how people aren't just going to go quietly and let them remove their jobs. Like, but how could I make it more efficient? How could I get your complaint to the right person the first time? Like, when I file a CFPB complaint, really, it's supposed to go to like the Federal Reserve banks. It seems that's where they always forward them to. They can look at stuff like that. I don't think so. So it's just going to turn into this giant fight. And also, I don't think 4 years is enough time for anyone to do much of anything. The way our system is set up, a lot of times it takes a person a full 8-year run to get something done. So already playing with a short field basically is not going to be super helpful. So it has tremendous potential, but I don't know that anything's actually going to come of it. It will be fun to watch for those who don't work in the government, at least. Caesar, travel plans for 2025. I got nothing, man. I don't have any plans. I'm not I don't think I've ever planned a vacation. I really don't like the word vacation. It just, something about taking time off. It's just like you're trying to call time out and the rest of the world is still playing at full speed. Like, it just doesn't work, because then you've got to either do more work to prepare for it or more work when you get back. So I'm trying to get a travel card, the Wells Fargo Journey card, but I don't have anything planned. At one point, I was trying to go to all the states. I think I've went to the majority of them, so maybe I could try to do that again and finish those off. But again, I don't have anything planned. I know the boys were talking about Puerto Rico for the credit card meetup. Honestly, I can't really. I know I always waffle, but like, I really can't imagine doing a full day of travel there and a full day of travel back, like, to hang out with some dudes. I don't think that. So I don't think that's going to happen for me. Probably not. Maybe, but probably not. I don't like committing to stuff. So I don't really have any plans. I really like the ones where you go. Like, I liked Vegas when I was there for less than 24 hours. In New Orleans, I was there for less than 24 hours. That's kind of how I do things. So, I don't have anything planned. So, I guess you can drop some recommendations down below. Places I can hit in and out in like a day or two max. Something like that. But I have nothing planned right now. Good question. I'm just not super fun. Next up, Rem here. So I'm going to simplify this a little bit. So he's asking about he just got the Smartly card. So first he's talking about his setup, which he's got the Altitude Reserve. He's got Bank of America set up for customized cash and the Smartly. So he's like, how is that set up for Simple? And for Simple, I think it's fine because, you only have a handful of cards. Since you're already with Bank of America, I would at least add the Susan G. Komen card to, take full advantage of your, 100K with them. It's the same thing as the customized cash. You could look at adding, if you want to keep it simple, you could still look at adding dedicated cards like an Amazon Prime card. That doesn't really make it that hard because it just lives in your Amazon account. But overall, if you're going for simple, then yeah, I mean, with mobile wallets at 4.5 and Smartly at 4, like you should be good on most things, and you could look just to add some spot things if you wanted. That's kind of the brilliance of Smartly, that at 4%, that's going to be more than enough for most people. Even for most people, if they got to 2.5 or 3%, they're like, that's good enough. How many cards do I really need? Now, to your other point, is it going to get nerfed? Is it too good to last? I mean, probably in some capacity. I think it will change a little bit, but I think it has a longer shot than we think. But it was like at the cost of other U.S. bank products. Like, I think they went through and they nerfed the Altitude Go because of Smartly. I think they went through and they changed their rewards thing. Like, hey, if you don't use your card for a year, we're just going to get rid of your points. I think they're trying to save up where they can and help out while they still figure out how hard they're going to get hit with Smartly. Between me and you, that's 200,000 right there that they just brought in at the 4% rate, right? So I think they are bringing in enough money to help support it. I don't know what their wealth management setup is. Again, most people are probably going to do this on the brokerage account, retirement, IRA side. I don't know what that looks like for them. If they were hoping most people were going to do it through the savings account, I think the 4% will stick, but I think we could either see what counts as a transaction to get paid on points change. That could get tighter. Same as like how Robinhood Gold did, no tax payments, things like that. Large purchases, maybe they say, oh no, you need a business card for that, we're not paying out. Or I can see them kind of shifting around where the 100,000 has to be. Like maybe they want it. I mean, clearly they wanted it in the savings account because that's where the account you have to have. But I don't think most people are going to do the savings account past a certain tier, like past the $5,000 tier. Maybe some people will, but I don't know. So I can see them changing it like that. But the 4% would probably stay. It might just get harder to use or harder to keep. But if you lowered it, I think you'd cause a fair amount of people to pull their money, which is not really what they want to do. So I still think we have a 2 or 3 year run on it before we start to see it get nerfed. And by that time, who's to say, Bank of America won't have tried to be more competitive. So enjoy it while you can. It's a no annual fee card, if nothing else, and it's easy enough to ACATS transfer to the next place if they do nerf it. It's just, we're dating. We're not marrying around here, right? That's what we're doing. But congrats on the card. Nathan Cashback. Good friend of the show, channel member logo. We appreciate you, sir. Were there ever any bank bonuses that you almost weren't worth jumping through the hoops to get? Alternatively, what were the ones that got away that you didn't qualify for, couldn't get paid out? Well, I mean, right now, Blue Vine is the one that comes to mind. We did a blog post and a video on them, and it was like, open a business account, spend $2,000 a month for 3 months on the debit card to get $300, and then Blue Vine decided to change the terms and conditions and not pay out. Now, they did offer us a chance to redo them under their new conditions, but you've already proven to be an untrustworthy business partner, so why would I trust you for 3 more months? Filed a CFPB complaint. Of course, they wrote up a pretty letter and was like, no, we're not paying you, and they were nebulous, which kind of like the last Sunday show that we talked about, how the CFPB was like putting folks on notice, like, hey, you can't just hide behind this vague and nebulous abuse term, is kind of exactly what they are guilty of doing. So that was the most recent one that got away. The things that make me nervous, it's not so much the requirements, it's like how confident are you that like, in reading the material. Like some bonuses, the terms are very, very structured and very uptight, which is almost good because it tells you the rules of the road. And some are like, I don't know, here's money, maybe we'll give it to you, maybe we don't. So for example, like if we're going through one and like it mentions the promo code field, but there's no promo code, or you can't really tell that it's going to attach, or it's one of those weird fintech things that doesn't really make reference to the promotional anywhere except in the terms, those make me more leery than anything else. I'm like, man, this is probably going to be a headache. Like, I can't tell. I'm not super confident that this promotion is even attached. Requirements-wise, I mean, they're all kind of the same requirements. I think it's the dollar amounts nowadays, because back in the day, 2 years ago, when there were no interest rates, the dollar amount deposits always made sense, but now they don't always make as much sense on the payouts, right? Because you can find the interest rate somewhere else, and a lot of these times they're not even giving you a good rate. Brokerage accounts never really seem worth the hassle, like transferring out, ACATSing out, in and out. That doesn't seem worth the hassle, but it's mostly that stuff. Like the places that just look sloppy, and like you just get a weird feeling. Like Opto, Opto is one that we covered, but they changed the conditions over the weekend. And yes, they told me in writing they're going to honor the old ones. I'm like, I don't have a good feeling about it. Still did it, but you don't really have a good feeling. And then I'll say the last one is like weird, not quite alternative investments, but like weird ideas. So like, who was it? Evergreen had like these liquid treasury accounts, right? And I did it, but it's basically like you could move in and out of treasuries with them. And I'd never heard of that before. It was kind of a weird setup. I was like, well, let me just dice roll it. If I'm going to make a video on it, I should at least do it. Now, they did pay out to their credit in full, but it was like a weird concept. You never heard of them before. And you're like, what is this product exactly? Things like that make me concerned more than anything else. The requirements are generally the same. Now, granted, I always have to remind myself that shooters shoot. And again, if you're going to talk about it, you should at least do it. So I usually take the shot anyways and just understand that like this might be a headache. I usually only regret it a handful of times a year. So, that's a good question. But yeah, those kind of come to mind to me is ones that are like, I don't know. New again, back to back here. Weren't you considering cashing out like 1 billion MR points? Remember my video Hawaiian shirt, Maldives? I do remember. I haven't cashed them out yet because it's the 21st at the time of taping. I cash them out at the end of the year, but I'm sitting on like $4,500 worth of points at 1 cent per point, so they will be cashed out because I just canceled my business gold. The business platinum comes due in January, so it's like next month. But it would be funny to sit on a fake beach and like the tree fall down behind you or something. Like, this is how I got here. To the last question, there's a bonus that I just wrote before starting to tape this called ARC. It's a cash management account. They need like 10 grand for $600. I don't have 10 grand laying around, but I was looking at my points. If I just cash them out a little bit early, I might be able to get to $10,000 and hit this bonus on the way out. So I might cash them out after this show, see if I want to try to hit that exactly. So it will be coming. Then I'll probably make a video, but I'll try to make the topic not so trolly, but like what is the true value of points or something like that. But yes, I'm going to cash them out for sure. New again. What's your favorite Christmas movie? Mine was a tie between Bad Santa and Christmas Carol. Almost every version works. Scrooge was great. Coworker said Die Hard. Die Hard does come up again in the show. Christmas Carol's good. I'm pro Scrooge. I'm not really a big holiday person. I think holidays kind of get in the way. It's like everyone's just trying to hit time out. Like I said in the vacation one, right? You're just trying to hit time out. Well, the world keeps moving. And I don't like that there's just not that much going on or to do because everyone wants to go do Christmas stuff. That said, that's why I picked Scrooge because he just worked no matter what. For my mother, who sometimes watches the show, this one's probably a little long for her to watch, but sometimes she does watch, is The Grinch, the OG one, because she makes us watch it every year. It's like a family unit. It's not particularly good. It's just like her favorite movie. I'm with the Grinch up until the end where he just, decides to give the stuff back. Take what you can, give nothing back is kind of another motto of the show, which she was doing until the end of it. But because of that, I've seen it for 33 years, I guess, in a row. So I don't know. For her, I'll pick the Grinch, OG one, the cartoon one. So shout out to Mother Dearest. Next up here, what do you think about Capital One offering miles in their shopping portal? Just bought the wife a Christmas gift from Victoria's Secret for 25 points, 25x points. Well, hopefully she doesn't watch it. Now she'll know. No woman watched this show, so you're probably fine. I think it's good. I think if optionality is good. I'm not going to tell you I know a ton about Capital One miles, but the Capital One travel has been big, and if you're a Venture X or Saver person, I think that's, optionality is good. You can definitely get some usage of those. You're probably going to make more with those miles than you would in a Capital One setup using, I guess the highest thing you could do is a Venture X would get you 2 back on everything. You're probably going to earn, I'm confident you've got more in miles than you do just using the Venture X. So I like to see them playing with their shopping portal and trying to put it a step above. Plus, I guess it kind of makes it competitive because what's the one everyone's always plugging? Rakuten, don't they offer you membership reward points? So I think that, hey, Capital One's trying to hang in there and continue to make their stuff just as competitive, given that theirs is a lot cheaper. So I like to see that. I like to see that in a much more affordable, which I also think is probably still the better setup than an Amex setup. So again, I don't know much about the value, but I like it. Hope she enjoys the gift. What credit card is Santa most likely to have? Well, that's an interesting question because if you think about it, He probably doesn't need dining because everyone feeds him, right? So what would he need dining for? He's good. He doesn't drive, so it really wouldn't be gas related, would it? I don't think he flies. He seems to me like he would have been at one point like a Bank of America. Like he'd be like an old school, like still have his Bank of America card or something. But I think he would be like Bank of America. He would have been like Diamond Honors secretly or something like that. Because I don't think he'd want a ton of cards. I can't see him doing American Express. Alternatively, I could see him doing something like I'd say like IHG, because like IHG is like the road trip type hotels, right? Well, I mean, I know they have higher tier stuff, but they're still like road trip type stuff, which could come in handy if if you were out on the road all the time. It probably takes a little bit of time to get around the planet, right? So I would say he'd probably be a Bank of America for like old money type thing, just that they were the first one to have preferred rewards. But like he'd have some of the older school looking credit cards, perhaps. I mean, you could maybe, I don't know what he's doing for materials. You could make an argument for like the Amex Plum card if you needed a warehouse line, maybe, or maybe Capital One. I could also see him being a Capital One person too, because I don't think he wants to spend that much money. But the Venture X, maybe if he got a newer card, I think it'd be the Venture X. But he seems like he's probably not dialed into the credit card game. I don't know why. I feel like Bank of America seems like that old money type deal. That's what I would go with, because you don't need dining, you don't really need gas. That's my guess. But let me know, what do you guys think down below? I don't know. Good question though. I appreciate it. Curmudgeon, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Yeah, absolutely, it's a Christmas movie. It happens on Christmas, doesn't it? I mean, yes. I use Die Hard as like my, if I had to answer the favorite Christmas movie and I want to be just obnoxious, I'll use Die Hard as that, and like the team building exercise and whatever. Yeah, it's a Christmas movie. It happens on Christmas. I think they even have Christmas hat, Christmas lights. Yes, and not everything has to be Disneyfied to be a Christmas movie. Plus, it's just funnier that way. That Star Wars Star Wars Christmas thing counts. This definitely counts. Yes. No more comments. Just yes, it does. D Green here with Smartly getting you 4% back on everything. Have you reached your credit card end game? I mean, kind of, sort of, right? Like, I'm still going to go after more 5% cards. I mean, there's a handful more I want. The Journey, I need a new Cash Plus. Another Discover card would be nice. I just close out of the comments. That's not helpful. So I'll still do it. I'll still get intro offers for sure. But what it does is I think it's like, now, if you're not getting the highest multiplier, but you're always getting 4 back, it's like, well, close enough, right? For a lot of people, I think it's fine. For me, because of this, and I still want to maximize everything, I'll still keep doing it. Plus, right now, Smartly isn't really working yet. Like, it's still crediting me with like 2%, even though I should at least be at 2.5 or 3 by now. I've got the full 100 in there, but if you go through their progressive 3-month average, so I'm hoping it gets sorted out by next year. I think I read something like that. But yeah, I mean, it does change things, right? Because there's like it's kind of like I'm good. Like the difference between 4 and 5 on a single purchase isn't that much. So it puts you in a temporary end game for cash back. For I think after this year, I'll have amassed all the cash back cards I need and want, and then everything else will just be like, well, sure, I can get another custom cash card, sure, but you're just talking about gold plating and you're still covered because of Smartly. It's a definitely game changer until we see someone else raise the bar, but it's going to take a lot for someone to come up to 4%. But even if they do, between Bank of America and the U.S. Bank, I'm out of IRA money to split. So even if they do, this is probably where I'm at. But yes, I do think it's kind of you could retire on that card alone, but I'm still going to do it for the fun of it. And then what else will we talk about here? But yes, I agree. Not the real Joker, because we have another Joker guy here too. What are your thoughts on investing cashback rewards? Which setup would you suggest for someone who wanted to invest their cashback rewards? Well, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of cashback, is that you can just cash them out and put them into whatever investment platform you want, really. I mean, the easiest ones that come to mind would be you could do the Fidelity 2% card and go straight into Fidelity if you wanted to. Schwab Amex card, but that's only 1.5x. So really it's two separate things, I think, because you could do, if you go the easy route of Fidelity 2%, well, then you're just getting 2% back on everything, which some people greatly like the simplicity of, but you're still missing out on quite a bit of action. If nothing else, you go back to our last question, you'd be better served getting a Smartly card, seeing how high you can get with that, and then just taking the cash back. So what I do is actually, when I'm not trying to cash out my reward points to hit another bonus, when I cash them out at the end of the year, oftentimes like that, those points I earned will become a proportion of my yearly IRA contribution. I think it's $7,000 a year this year, and I'm going to put it with U.S. Bank because, I'm still trying to get a little bit of buffer on that 100,000. So I don't lose my 4%. But I would do stuff like that. I would just get as many cashback cards as you want, and at the end of the year or quarterly or what have you, if you're actively investing stuff quarterly, cash them out. If you're doing your own personal brokerage, you could cash it out personally or quarterly. But if you're doing it for like my yearly contribution, then like just once a year is fine, and then invest it in a platform of your choice. I use Bank of America for platinum honors. Again, this year I'm going to go with U.S. Bank, so I want to pad it a little bit. If you're serious about it, you're not trying to do either of those programs, and you're probably looking at Fidelity or Schwab or something like that. I hear good things about both of those. But I think that's a great use of points because it also keeps you from spending on things you don't need, and you don't want to lose anything. But even if you lost something, it's like it's your money, but it's also you were going to buy the stuff anyway, so like did you really lose any money? Like it's more of a palatable loss, I guess. So yes, overall I agree with it. It's kind of what I do. So yes, I think good plan overall. I just wouldn't pick one of their credit cards. I would still just build your setup and then just maximize cash back and just pick your platform. Few more here. T. Lewis, do you think Capital One Discover merger will happen? Well, at the time of taping, like an hour ago, I just taped the recap show for last Sunday, and they got approved by like the Delaware State Board Bank or something. So it's still got a ways to go. But yeah, I do think it'll get approved, especially now that we're moving into a new administration that seems more devil may care about, mergers and stuff like that. I think it'll get approved. Neither one of them are like too big to fail banks. So I think there's that going for them. Plus, I also think still going to guess Capital One still wants it for the Discover Payment Network. The banking part is nice, but they could replicate anything that they have. Well, apparently they can't replicate the customer service because Capital One customer service is still not great compared to Discover's. Discover's is, from my experience, top tier. But yes, I think it'll get approved given we're moving to another administration and given that they're not they're big in the scope of banks, sure, but they're not like these massive. It's not like Bank of America trying to buy something. Or when Chase tried to buy, was it Silicon Valley? They originally were like, no, you can't. But then even though they bought First Republic afterwards, didn't really make a ton of sense. But it worked. So I think it does have a chance to go through. I think we'll see it go through. That's kind of all the commentary I have. I'm interested to see it go through. I don't think anything comes of it from our world, like, hey, new products or anything like that. But just because of those reasons, I think it'll be fine, but we'll see for sure. Of course, we'll keep an eye on it. Two more. Abdu Ali's World. Might have missed the deadline. You're okay. Lady friend update with the little eyes, and then go long in this question. We got 8% on this camera battery, so you got me for 8 more percent. What is your 2025 prediction? Go create politics, crazy events, major sporting events, credit card, finance predictions, anything that could happen. I don't have any lady friends. I think you're referring to like the last video when I went to a place. You just didn't understand. Like, I get invited places after everyone else has said no to you, and then you're like, well, he'll go because he probably can, and that much is true. So I have plenty of friends, sure, but like people I hang out with and see and go on dates with, like, no, it's not really a thing. So I'm sorry to disappoint, but this is what happens when you sit in your room and talk to yourself all day, right? So, no, sorry. Put it on the 2025 predictions list, perhaps. Politics, I think nothing really happens crazy. I think if you go back to the last 4 years of Trump, nothing really crazy happened. Yeah, don't confuse like him saying ridiculous, crazy things and him doing ridiculous. Nothing will happen. He'll do the job. He'll rant, rave. Maybe he'll do some good stuff. Maybe he'll say some silly stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, it probably won't have that much effect on much of anyone, really. Don't think it'll be that big of a deal as much as we're making it sound. The other major prediction, I think this AI thing and augmented reality, finally that bubble probably bursts. I feel like ever since we moved past like the smartphone and the smartwatch, companies have really just been reaching to find us something to sell. Find something to sell us. I think Apple's attempted AI is embarrassing and useless. Google has some good stuff, but it's fun party tricks. And really, until we get into real Cortana, like, not just Microsoft calling their thing Cortana or the Star Trek computer, I don't think for commercial use anyone's going to care enough to spend significant amounts of money on it. Yes, some stuff is cool and it can definitely help people in work settings, but consumer base, I think we're about over this AI thing, and it's going to happen fairly soon. I don't think anything crazy is really going to happen in cards and finance either. I mean, the crazy thing happened being the U.S. Bank deal after the Robinhood deal. I think it'll continue to be somewhat quieter while everyone kind of sits around and waits to see what happens till about maybe midway through the year. Rates going to keep dropping. What's that going to do to competitiveness in products and things like that? But I don't foresee any new cards that we haven't already talked about, right? Like, I think, yes, we'll finally get our city's next card. Maybe we'll get a Wells Fargo top tier card. We'll probably see the Amex. I think we'll need a new version of the Platinum. I think the Platinum card actually needs a new version above it. The Platinum card is, as weird as it sounds, at 700, it's too mainstream and it's too average now, because the statuses on it don't do anything anymore. And so it's lost it. It's not differentiated enough from people to have those that do have the card get special treatment or perks or anything like that. So if they want to keep the allure going, I do think they need to make another card above Platinum. I don't know if we see it next year, but I definitely think that needs to happen as well. I don't really follow sports too much, so I don't know. Maybe the Lions go to the Super Bowl. Lions Bills perhaps in the Super Bowl. That could happen. The Lakers should probably trade LeBron, or honestly, they should probably just cut him. I mean, he's the reason the team is terrible anyways. So send him and his son. Sending him to Golden State would be fun. I don't think that happens, but sure, they should probably get rid of him. So there you go. There are some random predictions. Let me know yours down below. Making a lady friend, probably not one of them, though. So I'm sorry to disappoint. Don't be like me. Leo here, last one. I know I'm a day late, but it's okay. I should refresh this. So let's see. Just in case I still have time, are we ever going to see a more premium Chase World of Hyatt card and Chase IHG card? I'm looking forward to recently announced JetBlue and Alaska Premium. Yeah, I think so, simply because money, right? I don't know why Hyatt hasn't done it, but it took them forever to do a business card. Eventually, I do think they will do a premium card, because you look at it, if you just look at the appetite for it, I mean, Brilliant at $650, Aspire at $650 now. I mean, I think there's just too much money on the table for them to not do it. So I do think they'll do it. Now, I don't think it'll be an instant status pass. They seem very reluctant to do that for whatever reason. So I don't think it'll be one of those things, but I do think they'll end up doing it. They're just being stubborn about it for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I mean, I'm sure Chase would be more than willing. And they've got four or five Marriott cards, 2 business cards of it. Everyone else does it. IHG can take a little bit longer, because, I mean, they did just refresh their cards maybe about a year ago. But yeah, I think just as people look for ways to optimize and get more money out of people, yes, we will end up getting more premium cards from them. I just think they're going to be more focused on, you have to use the card to get the value, because that was the Hyatt business card is basically, yeah, if you use it and put significant spend on it, it could be helpful, but I don't think it'll appeal to most of us, at least based off their business card anyways. I mean, it'll appeal to you because you get all the high-end cards, but I don't think it'll appeal to us. So that's kind of the trend I think we'll see with that. So put that on the predictions list. I don't know if we get it next year, but I think we do get one eventually because of money. So there you go. Those are your questions answered to close out the end of 2024. So, of course, Merry Christmas to all of you, whether you wrote in or not, watched it a little bit or not. We do appreciate you. We'll be right back here next year. You got to get that joke in anyways. With, of course, all the news you can use in the world of credit and finance and content just like this. And, of course, every single day over on profitfulcontent.com, which is our blog, always linked down below for you, and on the channel homepage. Of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below if you found it particularly interesting. Consider subscribing to the channel, so we're posting content just like this, like I just said. So what happens when I screw up the intros or outros. But anyways, again, thanks again, guys. If you need more answers and want to go back and forth, let me know down below. Of course, Merry Christmas to all of you, Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you very soon in 2025.